Welcome, everybody, to another vital conversation. And we are talking about axioms again today. And I want to welcome a longtime friend and colleague, Dr. Charley Cropley. And he's going to be speaking with me today about the 11th axiom of nature, which is intention. So I'm really excited to do this with you, Charley. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, thanks, Tish. Great to join you here, huh?
Yeah, this is wonderful. Well, let me just start. I always start with Jim Sensenek's quote. Jim and I started this project years ago, working on what we initially called the laws of nature. What are the laws of nature that really naturopathic medicine is fundamentally anchored on? And this hasn't been fleshed out. It hasn't really been codified. Lindlar talked a lot about it. And I'll just show you my book, how many tabs I have on this book of all the different axioms I've found in there through the years that Jim and I would discuss about. Jim had lectured about 5 or 6 of these axioms. And then I worked through with Dr. Eli Camp on several more. And I came up with a solid 11, but I think there's another one. I think there's a 12th or 13th. But so Jim always said, let me start with his quote. Naturopathic medicine is based on universal principles that are true and hold true for all time. We don't have to change what we're doing for the 21st century because the same rules and laws that apply to nature and the natural process of healing are immutable. They're always there. We can always count on them. They don't change. Yeah. And that's the beauty, really, that's the beauty of our medicine. We're grounded on these principles or axioms, as I call them, to always be there for us. And just kind of like the law of gravity, we don't always understand how they work, but we know it works, right? So when I did the PowerPoint years ago for the Vital Gathering, I had a couple slides that I presented with quotes. One of them I want to bring up to start with was Bill Mitchell. Bill Mitchell said, "The intention within us wants to see more beyond our eyes. How do we touch what we cannot touch? How can we see what we cannot see?" Jim said, "You can put it in a jar. You can poke holes in the lid." I said, "You can't put it in a jar, poke holes in the lid and look at it. But we know it's there, right? We know it's there." So that's the intention is, in my mind, intention is the way. It's the way we interact with our patients. It's the way we interact in the world. It's how we bring heaven to earth. It's the power connecting to the vis to heal humanity. And it's all there is. And intention for me with a patient care is like a prayer. It's like my intention is to bring healing to that person. And to have that clear intention of whatever comes up in that patient interaction is meant to be, right? It's that giving that space and that openness for that healing process to happen. So that's the beauty, I think, of intention. And I've seen it so many times played out so powerfully in my patients. And I'm sure you've had that experience too, Charley.
100%. 100%. Yes. I would say there's an intention that has us, right? it's innate. It's the intention of the body. It's the intention of life.
Mm-hmm.
And we, you know, we're as doctors pretty consciously in touch with that, at least through our mission, our intention in life. And our patients have that raw intention, but have no sense. They want to be well, but they
Mm-hmm.
are confused and completely at a loss for how to bring it about.
Right, because I think it's not modeled well in our society,
Oh, well said, Tish.
right? It's not it's not something that is evident to them. It's not something that's been taught to them, or they don't even know it's there.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, they seek it, people seek it. I think that's why we have so many different brands of religion and things, because people are seeking this, but they don't really know what it is,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes. One of the tap roots of disease, the tap root of disease, ignorance. Right? Like,
Right.
yeah. Yeah. And not just the ignorance of not knowing. People already think they know what to do, so hence they get chemotherapy or take
Right.
steroids or antibiotics, or they
Right.
they don't think they're ignorant, but somehow it isn't adding up. And the reason is that we can see is they're ignorant, and it's
Right.
to correct that active ignorance that is
Right.
a
Yeah. To teach them to learn to trust their body and
oh
learn to trust the wisdom, because they're taught the exact opposite. You know, they're taught the exact, like, diet has nothing to do with your health. How
yeah,
many times have people heard that? Oh, you can eat anything you want, but you have to take this drug. It's like, oh my God.
yes,
Uh, it
yeah.
just boggles the mind.
I remember it in myself. I lived in the town where Henry Beeler lived. And I
Mm.
remember coming home one evening, and my grandmother was sitting at the table there, and she was eating. She had a piece of lightly broiled lamb, some steamed zucchini, and a salad with a very little bit of olive oil on it. And I was looking at her and going, Grandma, what are you doing eating this? Like, we didn't eat that way in our household. Grandma, what are you doing eating this? And my mom says, well, Dr. Beeler put her on a diet for her rheumatoid arthritis. And I looked and said, I don't get it. What's diet got to do with arthritis?
Oh my
Just
gosh, right?
completely
Yeah,
ignorant. It
full
not
on.
does not compute here.
Right, right. And Beeler put her on the Beeler diet. I mean, just great meat, protein and veggies, proteins and veggies.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's such a cool memory. Yeah, and that's, even then you didn't connect diet with health. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the first time, an example of dispelling ignorance, I was ski bumming with a buddy of mine in Aspen, Colorado in 1969. And he said, Charley, you ought to check out this book. And the book was it was the the Rational Fasting and the Mucusless Diet Healing System by Arnold Ehret.
Oh, right. I
But
read that book.
yeah, it was the
Yeah.
first I ever read. And the whole takeaway for me was it dispelled the ignorance. I went, my God, we're not just victims of disease, but disease is actually, in this case, comes about through our ways of eating and can be healed through our ways of eating. I was just stunned, like ignorance vanishing. And I went,
Uh-huh.
uh, everybody in the world is going to want to know this. I have
Right.
no doubt, right?
Love it.
Like, this is this is what we're all looking for here.
Yeah.
Little did I know that, well, the other, so there's the ignorance, and then Lindlar again, the second tap root is indifference, right? Like you hear it and you go, yeah, or you even believe it, right? Your ignorance is dispelled. And this was so for me. My ignorance was dispelled, and I was addicted to a way of eating that, and it takes enormous passion, which is the opposite of indifference, love and caring, to heal that, right? To come in, and those two are two wings of the same.
Two opposites. Yeah, you got to have the grit to go, okay, I
Yeah,
know what I should be doing,
yeah,
and it's my intention to do it, but it's so much easier just to like, yeah, well, maybe tomorrow I won't eat that, whatever,
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's just human nature. It's so fickle that way.
Oh,
But
yes, yeah.
I'm going to bring in a quote right now from Lindlar, um, because he's talking just about this self-control. He says, when physical weakness, illness, and pain fill the mind with fear and dismay, reason becomes clouded, and will atrophied, and self-control is lost.
Will atrophied. What did he say becomes clouded?
He says, reason becomes clouded.
Wisdom?
And the will atrophied, and self-control is lost.
Wow.
When physical weakness, illness, and pain fill the mind with fear and dismay, reason becomes clouded, the will atrophied, and self-control is lost.
Reason becomes clouded, will atrophied, and self-control
is lost. And that's it. The people don't have self-control. They don't have the will. They don't have the strength.
Yes.
Because they're afraid. It's fear and dismay.
Fear and dismay.
Because they're afraid.
Yeah. 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 And, from whence comes self-control?
Right.
I mean, that's the core question, right? Is because you can know all kinds of stuff.
That's right.
And if you are not able to change your actions, then the actions that got you there, right, are going to continue and be cumulative. Right. And we're condemned or condemn ourselves to a life of sickness.
Yeah. Yeah.
In your experience, Tish, I mean, you are a highly, you have attained a level of self-control that is now, it's the way you live. How did you develop self-control? How did yours grow?
Oh, wow. I grew up with a Mennonite father who was pretty, he didn't say many things, but you knew if you were doing wrong, you kind of like, oh, that was wrong. But I think, I was a teenager who went out and ate pizza all the time with friends, and got addicted to Dr. Pepper. I was drinking probably at least 6 cans of Dr. Pepper a day in high school.
How much?
6 cans.
Gotcha.
I was living on peanut M&Ms. And I was a gymnast, and that's probably all I ate was Dr. Pepper and peanut M&Ms. and but then I realized I'm not feeling well. I'm not feeling well, and all this sugar is not helping me. So I started eating peanut butter sandwiches and trying to figure out other things. But I'm the youngest of 5, and all my older siblings were out of the house, and my parents were busy working, and I really kind of raised myself. So that's where some of the self-discipline started coming in. And my mother was a bipolar person. It took me a long time to realize that she wasn't a mother to me. And so it was living with a crazy person um, was difficult. And so as a gymnast, I became very regimented in my physical activity. That was my escape, right? The physical activity was my escape. And studying was my escape, because I knew if I could get really good grades, I could get out of this shitty situation and have a better life, right? So then I go to college, I'm married, I have children, and I just keep driving forward. But I really didn't understand the health aspect to the extent that I'm potato intolerant. I don't eat potatoes. And I didn't realize going to college initially before I had kids. I was living in the dorm eating dorm food, and I'd never eaten food like that before. I became crippled with arthritis. I remember calling my dad and saying, Dad, I can't walk across campus because my legs and hips hurt so bad. He goes, well, what are you eating? And I said, well, I'm eating dorm food. He says, well, you have to come home every weekend and make bread, and you're going to take all this stuff back to your dorm. You're going to put it in your little fridge, and you're going to eat good food, and that pain's going to go away. So that was my first experience in don't eat commercial foods. I still have to eat the foods I grew up on. And sure enough, within a couple months, the pain was gone. I'd bought myself a cane. I was trying to make it through my first year of college in advanced biology courses and stuff, and I was really struggling. And so as soon as I realized I can't eat this commercial food, went back to my old diet, my arthritis totally went away.
Mm.
And so then it was, that discipline that taught me that I am very sensitive to the toxemia that's created by certain foods in my diet. And so then I have children, and I raise them the same way I was raised, with the particular diets. And they were healthy kids. They hardly ever got sick. All these other kids are getting sick, and my kids aren't getting sick, and they're not vaccinated, and they're doing great and thriving. And I could really see the difference in the children at my kids' schools or their daycares, and just the difference was incredible. And then I become a naturopath and follow Dad's footsteps. So, but I think it was the self-control is not always easy. I still like sugar, right? I
Right.
still really like sugar,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and that's a problem. But it's
Yeah. I'll tell you my story of self-control. I read the book that I described, and
a
was
mucusless diet. Yeah, I've forgotten about that book.
and I was I drank a lot at the time. I smoked cigarettes. I got absolutely addicted to weed. I'd smoke weed all day long, and I'd eat whatever I wanted, but a lot of sweets, a lot of chocolate, several candy bars every day.
Yeah.
Um, and I knew, well, if this doesn't help, my other influence at the time were the natural hygienists, which today would be plant-based nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Vegan, no salt, no oil, no sugar, right? And
Yeah.
with that as the bar,
Ooh.
every day was a complete failure.
Oh, absolutely. That's a big leap.
Complete failure.
That's a huge leap.
And I went through being bulimic. I mean, I could not get the self-control. I couldn't. And the shame that I experienced was terrible. And I began to get up in the morning, and I would read books on nutrition. I would read the Bible. I began to write. I would write out prayers to help me to have self-control today, right? And fail every day. But through that process of seeking for this goodness that was trying to come to me, but I didn't know that, but wanting self-control.
Yeah.
That intention, that blind intention, I clawed my way there and found my way to where I am today. But in my days, and perhaps in yours as well, I suspect, there was nobody to help us. There was no naturopaths. There was nobody to guide us. You had your father, thank God.
I had Dad. Yeah. I had Dad to go get on the diet. Get this straight. You got to do this.
Right.
So he says, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you eating? What are you doing?"
Yeah. It's and so today, with our patients, we with our intent, with the patients, if you would, blind intent to heal that brings them to us to heal their suffering. God, we're actually holders of the wisdom, and intentionally so. Like you said, my intent, one intent to heal the sick, period. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? And to know how to do that, like in our bones, like no question here. This is the way the world works, the universe works.
That's the way it works.
Yeah.
My intention has always been to hold this medicine for future generations. It's always been my intention. That's why I became a naturopath, because I knew after my dad passed away that most of the modalities that he used would be gone if I didn't hold it.
Tish.
And that it's so critical for the future of the human race to know these things, to have these basic tools that we can use anywhere. Jim Sensenig always said you can put a naturopath in the middle of a jungle and they can still function as a doctor.
Absolutely.
Or out in the middle of a desert and we can still function as a doctor. So it's that kind of wisdom that is so lost in our colleges these days and so lost in our profession in many ways. And there's a few of us that hold this, like you and I and Jared and we could go on for the list of those people, but that's what's the most amazing thing about the Naturopathic Medicine Institute is that we are the only naturopathic association on the planet that holds these medicines, these modalities, these principles and philosophies for the naturopathic profession. Yeah. We're the only association doing this.
Tish, I'm really touched by that, how you knew from the beginning your intent has been to hold this for future generations. I mean, that's wow.
Yeah, it became so apparent to me. I was in undergrad. I was majoring in biology with a chemistry minor, and I was going to be a wildlife biologist because my heart was in nature. I wanted to heal the planet. I couldn't figure out ecology and how can I make a difference there? Well, maybe I could help the wild animals. Maybe if I help the wild animals and help preserve their environment, then maybe I could help the planet that way. So I was going to become a wildlife biologist. But I was at the clinic with Dad quite often. I would make his herbal capsules. I would compound his tinctures for him and things. And one day I was there with my little girl, Crystal. She was 2 years old, I think, at the time. And I was helping Dad out. I would come in, once or twice a week and help Dad out, making stuff. And Andre Sain was there. And Andre Sain said, "Hey, I hear you don't want to be a naturopath." And I said, "No, I don't want to be a naturopath. I'm going to be a wildlife biologist." He goes, well, why don't you want to become a naturopath? And I gave him some flippant answer at first, like, because I'm not going to do that, right? I don't want to be a naturopath. And then I saw him again because he was there quite a bit studying with Dad. And I said, so Andre, why is it so important? Why is it so important to you that I become a naturopath? What is this that you have to keep asking me this question? And he says, well, do you realize why I'm here? And I go, I have no idea why you're here. Why are you here? And he said, well, because I'm writing down, I'm making a book on hydrotherapy, and I have to interview your dad because he's really the last person doing this in our practice. And I went, no, he's not. He goes, yeah, he is. If we don't write this book, this is going to be lost to the profession. And I said, Andre, I go to conventions with Dad all the time. There's all these naturopaths there. I know that. He goes, no, they don't do what your dad does. I went, they don't? How was I supposed to know that? How was I supposed to not understand that I thought all naturopaths were the same? I thought all naturopaths were doing what Dad did. I had no idea that Dad had this incredible lineage to Dr. Carroll and Dr. Carroll to Lindlar. I just had no idea there was that connection and that was already lost to our profession. I had no idea. And so when that sunk in, and I had now a year to finish my college career and figure out what I was going to be when I grew up, I thought, oh, shit, I got to go to naturopathic school because I can't let this go away. We can't lose these modalities.
Wow.
I'm looking at my little girl thinking, I want to be able to give her hydrotherapies. What about all the people that need this care? Oh my gosh. And so the light bulb went on and I went to Dad and I said, so I'm going to become a naturopath. And he about fell out of his chair. he said, are you sure? And I said, yes. And he goes, it's really hard. And I go, I know. I saw what you went through. And he said, well, all right, I'm here for you. So it was amazing. And I never looked back. Never looked back after that moment I decided.
Wow, Tish. And he said, it's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
What was he referring to?
I think he was referring to how hard it is to be a doctor practicing this way in the world, because he was already chased down by the state attorney general who tried to throw him out of practice. He went into hiding for, my mom says 3 weeks. I think it was 6 months in my mind. I was in 5th grade when my dad was sued by the state attorney general for no reason. And he won the case against Slade Gordon. And so the clinic was shut down for 3 to 6 months. Dad couldn't see patients because there was a lawsuit going on. And when I saw that, it was very traumatic to the family. And so that's why my knee-jerk reaction is, no, I don't want to become a naturopath because they come after you, right? They try to take your license. They try to put you in jail. And I don't want that. I don't want that for my family. So it was scary. It was a scary proposition. Because it was difficult it's difficult still to be a naturopath.
Yes. And you're such an example of nature's intention found you.
Yeah.
Right? It was like your intention was strong enough to stand in that fire of the rejection, the skepticism, the criticism, the downright hostility and legal repercussions.
Yeah.
That's intention.
That's intention. And I faced that with Department of Health here too. I've tangled with them for 3 years. I couldn't take a blood sample from a patient. That's a whole nother story. But, and I won that issue too. And our licensing board supported me for that. So it's been difficult. I have to say there's one other thing that happened, Charley. When I was 12 years old, I died. I died. I was on my sister and brother-in-law's boat in Puget Sound. We had a carbon monoxide leak in the inboard motor, and I succumbed to carbon monoxide poisoning. I was totally unconscious for an hour or two before my dad realized what was happening. And my dad saved my life. This is interesting because it's one of those out of body experiences. I could see myself, and I knew everything that was happening on the boat, but I was out of my body. I was totally unconscious. My body was dead. Dad got me into fresh air. We turned the boat around. We got the boat back to shore. But I came out of that in the most incredible pain you can ever imagine. Without oxygen in the body is in so much pain. And I didn't realize that I was holding on, the body keeps the score, right? I didn't realize my body was holding on to that for years until I had a healing experience at the Naturopathic Medical School after a Bowen therapy. All of that trauma got released. But what I realized was that one of the driving forces for me to become a naturopath was that I had been given a second chance. I was here for a reason. I made it through that because I had to still be here. And that I kept thinking, why am I here? Why am I still here? How come I came back? How come I didn't die? How come I came back? And it was because of my dad's voice saying, Tishy, come back. Tishy, come back. You have to come back. And it was Dad who brought me back. And there was a reason for that. And that reason was because I had to be here to carry the medicine.
Oh.
And I know that. And I know that in my core. I know that was the reason. I had to do it. So here I am,
Oh my gosh.
And it's been hard. Like Dad said, it's hard. It's hard to be a naturopath. It's hard to hold the truth when so much is going wrong out there, right? And it's so hard because I'm such a compassionate person. It's hard to see the world crumbling and fighting and people dying, and it's just hard. Yeah, it's hard. But I wouldn't do it any other way.
Right.
Yeah. There's no other way to do it, right? To just go through it. You just have to go through it. Right? And I know you and I have talked about that before.
Yeah.
You just have to go through it.
Yeah. And it's exactly the same for our patients.
Right.
If you want to be healthy, it's the hardest thing in the world.
It's the hardest thing in the world.
You just have to go through it.
You have to go through it. You have to go through the struggles, and you have to go through the pain, whether they're mental, emotional, whether they're physical. You have to face it, and you have to understand, and you have to trust your body and know that the wisdom will come and the reasoning will come and the clarity will come if you're quiet and you let it happen. It happens. It comes to you. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I didn't think this talk was going that direction, but that's wonderful.
Tish, I want to add, I'm working here fairly closely with Peter Anderson.
Right? Oh, sure. You bet.
Yeah, who's a young naturopathic doctor beginning his practice here in Boulder. And he is one among many, if not all, people here in NMI.
Yeah.
That is, the medicine lives in him. And he spent a year with you, right? And he holds that lineage like bam.
Yeah,
Really cool.
that's amazing. Yeah, he's the first resident for NMI. It was a pleasure to have him at the clinic. What a
Yeah,
wonderful person. Yeah,
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 yeah. Oh, I'm so glad he's there.
yeah.
That's great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
where do you want to go now?
I want to say one thing. Um, this is Lindlar saying, if I were asked the question, what do you consider the greatest benefit to be derived from nature cure regimen? I should answer the strengthening of willpower and self-control. I'll read that again. If I were asked the question, what do you consider the greatest benefit to be derived from the nature cure regimen? I should answer the strengthening of willpower and self-control. This is the very purpose of life, he says.
Mm,
That's intention. That's
that's
intention.
intention. Yeah, yeah.
I am made whole through the renewing of my mind.
Say again.
I am made whole through the renewing of my mind.
No, I'm sorry. I still didn't hear and understand. Say it once more.
Lindlar says, I am made whole through the renewing of my mind.
Oh, I am made whole through the renewing of my mind.
And one more. Aren't these great that I pull these out?
Yes.
He says, the active principle in my will is the force which creates and governs the universe.
Oh, oh. Mm, mm.
The active principle in my will is the force which creates and governs the universe. That's intention. I'm going to give you one example of intention that I saw that blew me away. I was training with Dr. Ozzie Wrench. Ozzie is the osteopath from Australia who brought Bowen therapy to the United States. So I was learning the soft tissue manipulation of Bowen with Ozzie. And at a training session, I was in California with him. We had a couple people in the course who had some injuries. One gal had broken her tailbone and she could not sit down, right? It was so painful. She could not sit down. So she was standing and, motion, couldn't, real restless the whole conference. And Ozzie would come around and work on us if we had particular things. He says, okay, so come here. I'm going to show you guys what intention can do. And I'm like, all right, because he's all about teaching the soft tissue manipulation with intention. My intention is to open this area so healing can come to this hip or healing can come to this elbow or whatever we were doing. And so he had this woman with a broken tailbone. I mean, she's fractured in half. And so he lies her down and he says, okay, we just learned the tailbone, the coccyx move here, but I bet this is too tender for me to touch. And he lightly touched it and she's like, oh yeah, you can't touch my tailbone. He goes, okay, we won't touch your tailbone, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the moves over top, about an inch over top of her tissue. I am not going to touch her, but with intention, I am going to release this pain for her in her tailbone. And he did this move where he hovered his hands over the same points that you would put your hands on the person, but he hovered and with intention, he made the move and she immediately felt relief. That was cool. That was so cool. And I have used that many times in people who are too tender to touch. I said, we don't have to make it hurt to make it work. I will help you with this, but I'm not going to touch you, but you will feel it. And so I do the moves over top of the skin and I'm not touching the person. It's really amazing if you do it with intention. And intention is in so many different parts of medicine throughout the centuries, throughout the world. It's like in Chinese philosophy, it's the I Ching. In there's a book called Sestun, which is a medicine man from Belize called Don Eligio Ponti. Don Eligio used a sastun, which was it was a divining device. He used a divining device to determine care for people. That's intention. You know, there's so many ways that intention has used. Rolling Thunder, medicine man Rolling Thunder, used a beetle. He would flip a beetle, and it was his intention that would give him answers to things. And so there's many ways that I'm looking at my little list here of things. And you know, intention works because it's the truth. It's the truth of how we connect to our universe. It's how we bring heaven to earth. It's how we and what Bill Mitchell said. It's the intention within us wants to see more beyond our eyes. And I think that was a beautiful thing he said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What eyes cannot see.
What the eyes cannot see.
Yeah.
Like Jim said, you can't put it in a jar and poke holes in it, look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not known in the relative world through subject and object, through duality. We know healing directly as I'm what heals me. My love, my intention, right?
Yeah.
I'm bringing this into my life, and it's hard.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So linking intention with self-control. My work is all behavioral, and my diagnosis is through diagnosing the self-harming behaviors in eating, in movement, in thinking, and in relationship. And the work then, the sine qua non, is self-control, being able to direct, to choose and instill wise behavior. So the question is, for most people, self-control is equated with a wrong form of willpower, but it essentially is trying harder. And if that has its uses, but in someone who is self-critical, simply raises their self-critic to try and shame them to get them to do it, and it results in greater sickness, right?
Exactly. That doesn't work.
The question is, whence comes self-control? Whence comes the power to govern our actions wisely rather than foolishly? Right? Whence comes that power? And again, it comes back to Lindlar. Lindlar would say the roots of illness, right, are ignorance and indifference and lack of self-control, which is lack of self-control is born of ignorance and indifference, meaning indifference is, as I said before, a lack of love, a lack of caring, a lack of really caring. So we must find in ourselves, how much do I care to free myself from suffering? How important is it to me to make the time to get enough sleep or whatever it is that we're trying to control? And the second is, ignorance is dispelled by understanding. And let me understand what's making it so hard to give up sweets, right? I have to study myself, as I began in my early days and so on, to understand. I'm trying to understand myself. not a disease, not cancer, not MS. I'm trying to, because we bring our patients back to, you're the power to heal, and you don't understand who you are, and you're already using your power against yourself. Right. How can you understand what's, what is bringing this about? And it is intent, the desire to be free, the desire to heal ourselves. It's a real compassion for ourselves that leads us to understand ourselves.
And I think you said something really important there. It's the compassion for ourselves.
Yes.
It's the compassion for ourselves. When you asked about how self-control came about for me, I have to say, when I was a teenager, I did it the wrong way. Okay. I was very OCD. I would try to control my environment by controlling everything, right? And it was exhausting. How many times you turn the kitchen faucet off, how many times you make sure the door is locked, how many times I had that very compulsive behavior because I was trying to make my world right, living with a crazy mother. And one day my girlfriend says, Tish, people are looking at you. And I went, why? She goes, because you're acting really weird. And if I hadn't had that, my girlfriend just say, listen, it's not okay behavior. You're not, this is weird. And I'm uncomfortable being your friend. That one day I was meditating or praying or who knows what I was doing. I was in this place where I thought, I can't go on doing this anymore. And this isn't the right way to be. It's like I was overexpressing, trying to do that control, right? And that I had to give up, and I started crying for myself. I was crying for myself, and that's the self-compassion. I was crying for myself for help. And I just decided, you know what? God, you have to take this away. It's a burden I cannot bear right now, and it's going to go away, and I know I'm going to be okay. And the next day, I changed those behaviors 100%, and I have never done them again.
Wow.
And when I gave it up and I felt self-compassion and understanding for I'm hurting, I don't really know why, because I'm a child, but I'm hurting, but the hurt has to go away. I don't need that inside me anymore. The hurt can go away and I'm okay. And so I really think it's the self-compassion that's the key. And if people, I've tried to teach that to people. It's so hard to teach that to people. It's so hard to bring them to that point. But you can see it. You get glimpses of it at times, and then you kind of push that point to people, right? You're kind of, if there's a little crack there, you can work with it. You can work with it. And sometimes it takes people a bit of healing before they can get to that point, right?
Yeah.
But that's when the magic happens.
I'd like to tell, to riff on that a little bit. Patients come to us motivated by compassion. Mm-hmm. Right? They want to free themselves from suffering.
Right.
And like you, we healing is a progression of growing the strength of our compassion, becoming more loving, more passionate, more, I want to be free more than I want my addictions. And I want to just show something very very basic here that I do with patients because, as you know, what's before them can be just massive and seem completely unattainable to them.
Exactly.
And there's an ancient practice that's called hara, which consists of breathing, grounding, which we would say is posturing, and relaxing. And I want to show one thing I'll begin patients with. First of all, is this, we'll do this, is realize right now just the goodness, the compassion that has you here on this call and me here on this call. Mm-hmm. Right? That healing might come to our brothers and sisters in NMI who are watching this, and feel how absolutely real that is. There's no question of that's true for us, and allow that compassion to imbue our breathing. Whatever that means, to bring our attention to the sensations of breathing in our body. And let our compassion be embodied so that we can feel and enjoy it in the act of breathing. And let's simply take 3 breaths together. And come back. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to close with a quote from David Fidler. He wrote a book, Restoring the Soul of the World. He says, "It is not possible to participate in the great work of nature without experiencing self-transformation. It is not possible to participate in the great work of nature without experiencing self-transformation."